Good evening. My name is Todd Perry, and I am the director for the Pujols Family Foundation. Welcome to our 16th annual O Night Divine Christmas celebration. This year is our very special 2020 Home for the Holidays edition. Now, because of St. Louis County and the CDC guidelines, we're unable to do this in person tonight. And I sincerely miss seeing all of your smiling faces, because believe me, this is not what we envisioned for our gala this year. But I cannot thank you enough for your continued support of the Pujols Family Foundation with your sponsorships of this year's virtual O Night Divine celebration. And yes, I did say celebration because there are so many things in 2020. Believe me, I know we want to turn the page on and get behind us. But there's also a lot we have this year to be thankful for and grateful for. And one of those things is our relationship and continued support from friends like you, and also our friends at Edward Jones, our title sponsor again this year. Thank you so much. So tonight, in the spirit of our theme, Home for the Holidays, we're all socially compliant here at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton in Clayton, Missouri. And I want to thank Dan and Sheila Tim for hosting us tonight. Dan?
Thanks, Todd. We're honored to help host this year's O Night Divine celebration. But with COVID increasing and Sheila's low immunity, we've decided to let her stay at home. But I would like to welcome all of you to our first and hopefully our last virtual O Night Divine. Sheila and I, we just love this year's theme, Home for the Holidays. How appropriate is that? Might just have a whole new meaning this year. You know, COVID has changed a lot, but much has actually stayed the same. Things might just look a little bit different. So time with the family and friends is a bit of a challenge, but still a huge priority that just might take a little bit more creativity. Things like FaceTime and Zoom. Another big priority for Sheila and I is at this time of the year reflecting back how we've spent our time, our talent, and our treasures. You know, with the Pujols Family Foundation's mission at Faith, Family, and Others, that really speaks to Sheila and I. We love to support their work in the DR and with Down syndrome. Tonight, we hope everybody learns a little bit more about the foundation and the great work that they do. Now, to begin that learning, I'd like to introduce their founder. And that can be just a little bit daunting. We could talk about his 20-year Major League Baseball career. We could list off records, awards, milestones. We could even focus in on his 2020 season, where he jumped to number 3 on the career RBI list, just behind Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth, or popped up to number 5 on the career home run list, passing Mr. Willie Mays. But I think I'd rather just simply say, there's no question he is a great baseball player. Obviously a first ballot nominee to the Hall of Fame. But he's even a better person than he is ball player. So I give you number 5, Albert Pujols.
Hello everyone, I'm Albert Pujols, and I want to welcome you to our virtual gala. I want to thank Dan and Sheila and our title sponsor, Edward Jones, for continuing supporting the Pujols Family Foundation. Thank you to all of you sponsors and supporters tonight. We are going to hear a lot of great story in about a short time. I'm happy each of you could join us.
Thanks, Albert. You know, tonight is all about telling stories. We want to tell the Pujols Family Foundation story, and how we would like to tell that is through personal experiences and stories that have interacted with them. So first, I thought it might be helpful if I share how I got started with the Pujols Family Foundation. It actually was with a dinner with Albert and Dee at our home with our family. But let me be totally clear. We actually purchased that at a charity auction, and we purchased Dee Dee to come in and chef up a dinner for us, and we were hopeful that Albert might tag along. Well, I remember that date really, really well. It was in the fall of 2012. It actually was the very night that the Cardinals won the National League pennant in 2012. And I was super glad that Albert still was a Cardinal fan. It was a great evening. We talked a little bit about baseball, but much more about life and family, and more about sharing and giving back, which led us to the foundation. Shortly thereafter, Albert introduced me to Todd, who's the director of the foundation, and I learned all about the work that they do with Down syndrome in the Dominican Republic. We took trips to the Dominican Republic, visiting the bateys and villages, and actually seeing the work that they do. And a few things really struck me. The first, every time we went to a village, the very first thing that we did was meet with the community leaders in the church, the school, wherever we could find space. And we'd all get into a circle, and the leaders would share all of their urgent needs and concerns. This was a really thought out list, and it was all about how they would like a hand up and not a hand out. It was also striking just how happy and positive these people were. They were living in desperate poverty. So that trip certainly changed my life. And when I came back, I was convicted to share my experience with others. And that's when Building Hope was born. And we had a three-pronged vision. The first was to take small groups, including families, to the Dominican, and to do hands-on projects in the village, working with the people of the Batey. And the third was to change lives. And everybody thought that was just about changing lives of the people in the Batey. But really, it was more about changing the lives of the participants that went. So far, we've completed Building Hope 1.0 and 2.0. Unfortunately, for this year, we've been on a bit of a COVID pause. But now we're ready to re-engage and get back after it. So that's my story. But I think it would be great if we could hear from some of the Building Hope participants and their families about their experiences.
So welcome to our home. We are the Fretwells, and we're delighted to have you here with us today. We just want to talk a little bit about the Pujols Foundation and our partnership through Edward Jones, how grateful we are for that partnership. A few years ago, we were able to spend some time in the Dominican Republic, and we went there really hoping that we could change some people's lives. And what we didn't realize is that it was going to be our lives that were changed, not only ours, but our entire families. And so we're excited to tell you a little bit more about that today.
Our first trip in 2017 to the village was an opportunity for our family to experience poverty and to give back, to instill in our children a sense of grounding. In our interactions with building a church, building a home, playing baseball, they showed us love, gratitude, and faith. Our second trip in 2019, we got to invest more in the families, and it can be summed up in the picture of two little boys, D'Angelo and Ashley. D'Angelo comes from a small family. They live in a small house with sheets for their interior walls, and we even saw little chickens running across their floor. But there's so much love in that family, and they just need a little help. And our second family, Ashley, is a boy that connected with Will over a piece of artwork. Ashley's family was bigger. His dad's a pastor, and there were adults and children from all different places that were just being supported by their family, and they too just need a little help.
So if you're like us and are looking for ways to invest in the next generation and in kids, we have found that through the Pujols Family Foundation and the program Congracia is a great way to not only provide for the physical needs, but for really all the needs of these individuals and these little kids. For really less than what it costs to go out to dinner one time a month. We have the joy of knowing that kids are well taken care of. And it really is a way that we together can make a difference in the world today. And so we know that through this program, we can change the world one child at a time.
Hello, we're the Beckstead family. So my name is John Beckstead.
I'm Jennifer Beckstead, and these are our sons over here. We have John Beckstead, and we have Justin Beckstead over here on my left.
And this is our amazing daughter, Jackie. Yeah, so the way we got involved was, quite frankly, a little bit lucky. We ran into some people, Dan, Tim, and some others at Edward Jones who had gone on this trip before, and I overheard them talking about it. They saw me there, and they said, "What are you doing in July?" I texted Jenny, and a few months later, we were on a plane to the Dominican Republic. Doing something that we didn't know at the time would really change our lives.
I think that it was definitely a big experience for our kids. I know it was surprising for them to go and visit families where the entire family would live in a house that was smaller than their bedroom at home.
You really, in a short amount of time, could really feel and see and be a part of this village and the people there. And you could tell that this was not a one-time event. This was something that had been building for quite some time.
I think one of the most meaningful experiences that I had was the day that we visited the sewing school. All of the women ran and got all the stuff that they'd been working on, and they came running up and they were so excited to show it to us. And they were holding it up and they're like, look, I made this all by myself. I learned how to do it. And it was fantastic to see that they were learning something where they could start providing for their families. And I think that that was the great thing, that they weren't just getting a hand out, they were getting a hand up, something that they could use for the rest of their lives.
Oftentimes you can donate money, give things away, even help out and volunteer, and it's consumed. This is not consumed. It keeps on growing. It's providing an opportunity for people to provide opportunities for themselves, which means it's something that will live forever. It's perpetual in nature. And it's definitely one of those opportunities where, as you give, you change lives. And not just the lives of the people in the village, the lives of the people sitting on this couch. That's the part to me that is so special, is it's life-changing for everyone involved. Not just the village, not just us, but also the people around the village that are now seeing what a difference can be made here. So anybody who is thinking about getting involved, you're getting involved in something special that will grow and that is perpetual. And to me, that makes it very meaningful.
Our vision is to grow the impact with our Dominican villages. And we want to do that with building hope and Congracia. And we would love to have you join us. Sheila and I were given a gift earlier this year to sponsor a family in 2020. We intend to renew that gift for 2021. You will see a link on your screen for Congracia, where you can view and select a family or a child to sponsor. For a family, it's $150 per month, and a child just $40 per month. On my trips to the Dominican, I've had the opportunity to meet many of these families and children. I've walked with them in their streets. I've been in their homes and see how they live. I've worked side by side with them on building hope projects, building a church, refurbishing the ballpark, building homes. We've gone to church, or better said, we've done church, because they don't just go to church, they do church. I've played baseball with them. It's their pastime, but it's their passion. These are just wonderful people that are in desperate need. So please consider sponsoring a family or a child.
What does poverty look like? Lack of clean water, lack of proper sanitation, lack of nourishing food, lack of safe living conditions, lack of hope. In the Dominican Republic, thousands of individuals and families are living in poverty every day. Without access to adequate living conditions or promising opportunities, hope can be difficult to find. Combating poverty begins with instilling hope. Con Gracia is a program dedicated to creating lasting change for those without hope living in these impoverished conditions in the Dominican Republic. Through programs such as child sponsorships, we can create a cycle of change that can transform not only families, but also an entire community. To support those in poverty, physical needs must first be addressed. Children are among the most vulnerable in these villages. Basic health and hygiene needs, such as clean water, nourishing food, and regular medical and dental checkups, are essential in creating a healthy community. Some children require costly medicines or surgeries, needs that their family cannot afford and local clinics cannot care for. Additionally, improving living conditions is necessary for these vulnerable children. creating safer home conditions, including proper sanitation and beds, can create secure environments to grow and play. But it goes beyond simply meeting the basic needs. Education can be implemented through mentorship and educational programs, creating both emotional stability and a future for these children as they grow and find opportunities to succeed. Through sponsorships, children dreaming of attending university can find the opportunities they would otherwise be denied. Through Con Gracia, these dreams can be constructed. As the cycle of poverty breaks, families will be able to provide for themselves, resulting in a community that can become truly self-sustaining. Con Gracia is more than a sponsorship program. It's about communicating to children they are valuable, that they matter, and that there is hope. It's about building dreams of a future filled with hope. It's about changing a community, one life at a time. This is Con Gracia.
We were in the Dominican Republic on our last Building Hope trip with Dan Tim and the Fretwells, Becksteads, and some of the other families that you've met tonight. It was our last day in the village, and we customarily meet with the families that we sponsor through Con Gracia. And it's a great time to meet face to face and find out their needs and how we can help them in some type of tangible way. During this time, I noticed that young Jackie Beckstead was tagging along with one of the families as they were delivering food and school supplies and clothing and medicine to their sponsored family and children. Now I have Jackie and her parents' permission to tell this story tonight. And as our families were providing these essential needs and gifts for their sponsored families and children, I noticed that Jackie was just standing over against the wall, away from the action, and she was silently watching and observing the other team members as they blessed and they served the people they sponsored. And to be honest, there was a point where I looked over at Jackie and I wondered to myself, I wonder if this is getting through. I mean, I wonder if she's getting this. So now we're all back at the villa and everyone's cleaned up and we're ready for dinner on the final night. And on the last night, it's customary that we have a recap of the trip, and this was no exception. And one of the things that I like to ask the team when we're seated around a big circle is, what is the one thing that you'll take back from this trip? And as that question worked around the group, there were some really beautiful and emotional responses. But as it was winding down to the end, it was Jackie's turn. And I remember Jackie took a deep breath and she said, "Today," and that's when she broke down in tears. And Jackie just began to weep and cry. And after a moment, she'd start to speak, and then she'd cry again for what seemed like at least a solid minute. Jackie couldn't utter a word. When she was finally able to regain her composure, she simply said, "Today, I saw God." She got it. She got it. And tonight, that is my prayer for everyone who's watching tonight, that through these stories and through the gifts and the donations that are being made tonight, that you will see faith in action, that you will see an opportunity for you to be a part of something so much greater than yourself. Through the mission of our calling and the actions of individuals' hands and feet just like yourself, I pray that you will also see God. Please go to congracia.org. You can select a child tonight or a family to sponsor this year. Or you can give a one-time donation. I was just told there's a matching $10,000 donation. They will match your donation tonight up to $10,000. So your $100 could be $200, Your 500 could be 1,000, your 1,000 can be 2,000, all the way up to $10,000. And these gifts are 100% tax deductible. This year, during the pandemic, the Pujols Family Foundation has doubled down on our service to the needy in the Dominican Republic. Our ladies in the sewing school were paid to make 5,000 masks for their community. And these masks are given and made available to every person in the batey. Our baseball league, our vocational school, and English lessons have continued with appropriate protocols. And I am so pleased to announce there have been no COVID-related deaths reported in this village as of today. You've heard the stories tonight of the life-changing work that's happening through the Pujols Family Foundation and our sponsorship program called Con Gracia. Change someone's life through a gift of sponsorship. Con, with, Gracia, grace. With grace. Congracia.org. Start your story right now. May God bless you.
Changing lives is truly powerful. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the program and learned a little bit about the foundation and the great work that they do. And hopefully we've touched your heart. I'd like to leave you with two of my favorite quotes from a carpenter's son. To whom much is given, much is expected. And it's more blessed to give than to receive. So we wish you all a happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and a blessed COVID-free New Year.
Albert, for 15 years, we have always enjoyed at the end of the night of O Night Divine having you come up and share your heart. And just because this is our first virtual event, we would still love to hear your thoughts on the night and especially the people who have come out and sponsored the event just like it was happening here at the Ritz-Carlton.
Well, Todd, as you know, we are really blessed. To continue to have all the support from our sponsors, especially Dan and Chila, and Edwards Jones, who's our main title sponsor, continue to believe in our mission, in what we do through the foundation, even though we are living difficult times right now, but, they're still supporting us, and we are able, because of that, we are able to continue to do the events that we have done so far this year, as well, hopefully making a trip down to the Dominican Republic, because, to us it's about, changing life, and they believe in our vision, and their jump, and they're right with us in the same boat. So we are really blessed. Speaking for my heart, I'm pretty sure you feel the same way, and people that support us also.
Albert, we know how this COVID pandemic has affected the people in the United States, but a lot of people don't understand how it's affecting the rest of the world. We know because we're hearing a lot of reports from the Dominican Republic, or we're hearing of people that had lost their jobs, people that had were going days without eating food. And I know that's one of the things that really touched your heart to spring into action. Can we talk a little bit about some of the things that the foundation was doing to help feed people who are hungry?
Yeah, obviously, as difficult as it was here, it was twice worse down in the Dominican Republic, and especially the places that we serve, those bateys. And I think, right away when we find out, we try to help them out as much as we could. Obviously, early in the year, we did what we had to do, provide them with food, at least for one or 2 weeks. You're talking about feeding between 9,500 to 1,000 families. That's huge. At least we give them a little push. When we see these people in the DR, in the condition that they're living, and we see the problems that they're having, and not having food on their table every day. It's a tough condition. That wasn't a condition for me that I used to live on. I always believe my family never have money, but I believe that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we weren't rich, but we weren't poor. Some of these people go weeks without, having food on their table. So anything that we can do to help them out. That's what the Pujols Family Foundation is all about, not just serving the community here in St. Louis with Down syndrome or in the United States, but also making sure that we take mission trip down to the Dominican Republic. And every time I go, I keep telling you this over and over, there's always something that happens in the trip that is continue to, change my life, and that's why I continue to go back.
So Albert, I know there's probably people that are tuning in tonight who are really seeing the Pujols Family Foundation for the first time. And, I get to see this side of you that I've seen for 20 years. And this may be the first time people are seeing this side of the man that they normally see on the baseball field. What is your passion? What is it that drives you?
Well, I think, my passion is something that I had learned as a young age, seeing my family, taking care of others, like their neighbors or my dad or my mom or my grandma. And for me, I believe that this is part of the responsibility that we all have, and I find that the Lord has given me that gift of being a baseball athlete, but with that comes a lot of responsibility. And I think at the end of the day, it's about giving back. And that's something for me that's more important than hitting a grand slam or winning any World Series, because at the end of the day, that's the memory that you can take back with you. Going down to the Dominican Republic, serving the community, getting your feet wet and your hands dirty, that's something that to me, I will treasure that with me forever, in my life. And that's something that I grew up seeing in my family. They have given me a great education. And for me, that is part of my responsibility to continue to do for my kids now, because, we all getting old and our kids are the one that gonna take over, hopefully AJ, Sophia. So I think that's what drives me every day, to be able to wake up another day that the Lord is giving me on this earth, to continue to change life, whether it's through the Pujols Family Foundation or whether it's a picture that I can take or talking to somebody in the street if they ask any question. So, and I think, that's what I love, that's what I love. And the stories, behind, because, something that I did 5 years ago, you reconnect with that person again and say, hey, you remember 5 years ago, you did this for me, it changed my life because I was having a hard time at that time, and what you say to me, really touched me. So at the end of the day, I think we all know that it's not about us, it's not about Pujols, this is about the Pujols Family Foundation. We're all family, and we all have growing over the last 15 years that we have created this foundation. We have learned a lot. We have a lot of life that we've been touching, and to all our sponsors, they are listening, and they know how we are so blessed and thankful for their donation, and continue to support the Pujols Family Foundation, because we cannot do this by ourselves. We need a lot of, we are just the engine, but we need fuel to continue to do that. And that's what our sponsor had done, to the Pujols Family Foundation, to continue to give so we can continue to change lives. And they don't even know how many lives they have touched over the last 15 years,
Amen.
So we are really blessed. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of myself, my wife, my family. We are really grateful. And hopefully next year we've been having this dinner in a big room full of people again, like we always have over the last 14 years.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Well, tonight we want to thank everyone for being a part of our first virtual gala. We want to especially thank our friends at Edward Jones for once again being our title sponsor, and the Tim family for hosting us tonight, and the beautiful Ritz-Carlton. Thank you guys so much for lending us your space. We just want to give you well wishes, Merry Christmas, and God bless you from our families to yours.
Thank you.